AetherSX2 has blown away any and all expectations that I had of it. Ladies and gentlemen, this might just be the best up-and-coming emulator that I've ever seen. No exaggeration. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna skip the intro and I'm just gonna dive right into everything you need to know about AetherSX2, from installation to in-game performance on a wide variety of games. And I do mean a wide variety, I tested quite a few. Okay, so installation for this is pretty easy. You just want to join the AetherSX2 Discord, after which you'll find the sign up link for open testing. You click on that, you sign into your Google account, and you join the open testing program. Then after that, you just download AetherSX2 from Google Play and you install it. Once that's done, all you have to do is upload a BIOS file for it to find, and you make a folder for your PS2 games with which AetherSX2 will scan every time you open it. And once you do this, you're pretty much all set up. Now we're going to get into the really juicy part, which is the emulator's settings and game performance. I just want to start out by saying, wow, this emulator has it all. I'm very, very, very impressed by the huge amount of features and amazing game performance of AetherSX2. You can do pretty much all the things you could expect from a fully developed emulator on a PC, you know, like graphic scaling, both OpenGL and Vulkan graphics APIs, along with software rendering options too, underclocking ability for improved performance, and a whole bunch of other stuff too. I mean, you can put all sorts of things on your display screen, FPS and game speed, and a whole bunch of other things I don't really understand. And it's all pretty easy to navigate through and find what settings you want. So I'm not really going to go through all of it feature by feature. It's probably best for you to just play around with the settings yourself and see what works best for you. You're going to see that in a lot of my recordings. You'll see I'm going to stop the game and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to adjust like the cycle skips and stuff like that just to tinker with things and get things to perform better. And honestly, that's why I recommend you do too. Just play around with it. Honestly, just play with the settings. Anyway, let's get into the games now. So for a mobile emulator that's still in its infancy, AetherSX2 provides really awesome performance in most games. As a reference, I have a Samsung Galaxy S21 with a Snapdragon 888 chipset. So, if you have an 888 in your phone as well, you're probably going to see similar results. But based on what I'm seeing, even with a lower end or older chipset, you're probably going to be just fine for most games, though maybe not everything. I tested a pretty big variety of games and I only had one game that wouldn't run, one game with subpar performance, and one game with some fairly major graphical glitches. Everything else ran almost flawlessly. I'll start by talking about the few games I did struggle with. The only game I tested that refused to run was Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. I would start up the game, go through the menus, create a character, and load into the game just fine, but as soon as I got into the game, it would freeze up and AetherSX2 would crash. I tried both OpenGL and Vulkan renderers, and I messed around a bit with the system settings, but nothing seemed to fix it. It would just stay at like 1 FPS, it would sit there for a second, and then the application just close out, so I don't know what's going on there. I did have two other games that crashed on me, Shadow of the Colossus and Jak and Daxter, but both those games ran fine once I switched from Vulkan to OpenGL. Speaking of which, I originally switched, like it defaults I'm pretty sure to OpenGL, and I switched to Vulkan to see if it helped performance. But honestly, I didn't really notice much of a difference in any of the games I tested, but of course, your mileage may vary. So like I said before, there were only two other games that gave me any problems, one of which was Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonis. The game had pretty decent performance and whatnot, but I kept having these weird glitches where Sly and sometimes the terrain around him and even some objects and enemies would just like turn transparent when I changed the camera angle. And sometimes it took a while for the textures to pop back in. It wasn't game breaking, I could still play through it, but it was very jarring and it made things kind of difficult, and it was a bit annoying. The only other game that gave me problems was Shadow of the Colossus, of course. Shadow of the Colossus ran at less than full speed consistently, with a lot of lags and frame drops across the board. Of course, by messing with the cycle rates and cycle skipping, I could help the game run at full speed. with the cost being that it was a lot choppier, lower frame rate, more unstable. And in the end, I was able to get Shadow of the Colossus to run at full speed with some aggressive hacks, but of course, the gameplay was super choppy, and I probably wouldn't play it like that, personally. Because of this, I would say that Shadow of the Colossus was the only game I had that really wasn't playable to me because of the performance. I mean, yeah, you could play it, it's not that bad, but it's the only game I couldn't get to truly run smoothly. But honestly, this isn't AetherSX2's fault. Shadow of the Colossus is probably the most demanding PS2 game out there, and it is notoriously hard to run. I even have a little bit of trouble with it on PCSX2 on my gaming PC. So I'm honestly not surprised it had trouble here. In fact, I'm surprised AetherSX2 actually did as well as it did with this game. But I definitely wouldn't try to run this one without high-end specs, and even then performance is not ideal. I'd probably skip this one if I were y'all. Besides that, every other game I had ran just fine, and in a couple, I even bumped the internal resolution to 2x. I probably could have kept pushing it and gone a bit further, but I really didn't want to push it too hard, considering that recording my gameplay definitely took a little bit of a performance hit as well. But really, pretty much any game I threw this emulator ended up running almost flawlessly, to the point where I kind of forgot I was even running this thing on my phone. Of course, I was using a Bluetooth controller to play. I was using my PS4 controller and not the touchscreen, because I really don't think that using the touchscreen is viable in some of these games. But yeah, overall, I'm really impressed by how well this emulator ran for me. One thing to note, however, is that I did have to do some mild underclocking in basically every game in order to run at full speed, because without it, I would get a full 60 FPS like most of the time, but there would be quite frequent dips down to like 40, and in a normal game, of course, that's fine, but you know, with emulation, as you know, this doesn't just reduce the FPS, it reduces the game's speed, and it makes it a lot harder to deal with. But I was almost able to maintain full emulation speed without any sort of cycle skipping at all, which is super impressive for sure. And with the hacks and stuff, like, it ran perfectly. It ran absolutely wonderfully. Now, I know you might be thinking, maybe it's not that impressive, right? Oh, because I have a high-end chipset in my phone. So yeah, of course it's going to run well, right? I got top-of-the-line specs. But my response to that is that I still think it's quite an accomplishment. Because even though I have a high-end chipset, you gotta remember that this processor is running at a 5-watt power draw. Okay, that's literally less than like 5% of the power draw of some desktop CPUs, and it can run these games at full performance. So yeah, I'd say it's pretty impressive. And on top of that, I don't think me having top-end specs is actually as important as you'd think. Because of like the performance I was seeing in these games, I have a feeling that even with a bit older or lower end processor, you could probably still run games at full speed. Though for some of them you might have to turn up the cycle skipping and cycle rate a little bit, which of course can make gameplay a bit less smooth and possibly unstable. But I think for most games it would handle it pretty well. Still, I think even with an 845, you could probably squeeze out good performance with the right settings. And remember everybody, this emulator is brand new. Literally nobody even heard of this emulator like 2 months ago. Okay, it's gonna get better. Like, this is just the beginning. Performance on your phone is probably gonna go up over time as they fix things. You know, and it's just insane. You know, this thing is brand new and it's already running so well. And yes, I know, it's based at least partially off of PCSX2. So yeah, okay, it's not like it's all completely original, but you know what else is based off of PCSX2? Daemon PS2. And Daemon PS2 runs like garbage. And this emulator has all sorts of awesome added features and adjustments, and the dev is not a scumbag. So yeah, I couldn't be more impressed. This has got to be one of the best mobile emulators I've ever used. And it's, like I said, it's probably only going to get better as time goes on and more development happens. I'm excited to see where AetherSX2 is going to be in another year or two. Like I said, almost every game I had on here ran very, very well. Super impressed. I want to see what it looks like on everybody else's phones too, and see how it's running. And I'm going to leave you all now with my showcase of gameplay footage and all these games I played. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like and subscribe. I'm going to have a lot more emulator videos coming in the future, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.